This is Catholic Forum. I'm Bob Krebs, and my guest today is Sister Ann David Strominger, the delegate for religious for the Catholic Diocese of Wilmington. Sister, I'm glad to have you on the program again.
Thank you for inviting me again.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. How long have you been the delegate for religious for our diocese?
It's been 11 years now.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
So, talk about your job. What does your job entail?
Well, I am, as the delegate for religious, what I do is I'm the liaison for Bishop Koenig, which basically means that I represent the priest brothers and sisters of the diocese who are members of religious orders. And so sometimes I attend events such as jubilees, funerals, communicate with the bishop about any needs that the religious might have, and vice versa, anything that he has that he would like to communicate with the religious. So I would basically say that one of my ministerial jobs is to be a presence for the diocese.
To represent the diocese with our religious men and women. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you like your job?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I feel like in these 11 years, they're all my sisters and brothers now. I know them personally. I try to go and visit, like downstate, to Little Sisters of Jesus and Mary once a year, people at Bethany Beach. So, and then I get to attend some of the funerals that the sisters might have. And I feel as though I know the people, and that makes such a difference.
Yeah. And that doesn't keep our religious men and women from communicating directly to the bishop and vice versa, but you're just kind of there to kind of be an extra representative and extra help.
Exactly.
Along the way. Yeah. So how many religious serve in our diocese?
Well, we currently, I brought all my notes with me,
Sure.
so let me just give you the numbers.
Take your time.
Currently, we have 205 priest brothers and sisters. We have 136 sisters and 2 postulants. We have 4 brothers and 1 novice, and we have 62 religious order priests. And majority of them live above the canal.
We got to push them down. Got to get them across that
right.
canal.
I agree.
And so let's just talk a little bit about some of those religious communities. You mentioned the Sisters of Jesus, Little Sisters of Jesus and Mary, who work in Salisbury.
Yes.
What are some of the others that come to mind?
Some of the other religious communities, we have 5 Indian community, sisters of Indian descent. We have 2 sisters from Cameroon. We have the Sisters of St. Joseph, the Sisters of St. Francis. We have the Felician Sisters, the Little Sisters of the Poor. We have so they're the sisters. So when we look at some of the priests, we have the Oblates of St. Francis de Sales. We have the Norbertines in Middletown and at Archmere. And we have a couple new orders of priests who are, I'd say, they're below the canal, but they're in the middle section.
And what are some of their ministries? I mean, you know what Little Sisters of the Poor do? They run the Jean Jougan residence in Newark, and they do wonderful work. Some are in education, I guess. And some
That's right. And some are in parish ministry. They're parish associates today. Some still teach school. The Little Sisters of the Poor service the elderly. Right. We have sisters down in, like I said, parish associates, liturgists, those who work with the poor in Salisbury. The Little Sisters of Jesus and Mary run the House of Joseph, which is for homeless men who are in recovery programs. They have residences for homeless women. So food banks. I would say to you, majority of our religious today are working with the poor and the needy.
Where in the past it was mostly education, correct?
That's correct.
I mean, we still have religious in education.
Yes.
We have, at Sally's, Archmere, Mount Aviat Academy, and Ursuline Academy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're still very active, but the trend now is to serve the poor.
That's right.
Why is that?
I would say to you, it fits very much in with the call to service. What are the needs of the church? So 150 years ago, when the immigrants came to the United States, there was a need to start Catholic schools. And that's what sisters did. It's not that those needs aren't there, but we have educated the laity in ways that they can take over those schools and we can continue the catechesis. I would say that when you listen to Pope Leo right now, he calls us to take care of the immigrants, to take care of the underserved. And so even the younger members who are called to religious life feel a call to serve the poor or to serve the church in a more catechetical way.
Interesting how things evolve, and I guess that's been the case throughout 2,000 years. Religious have evolved depending on the needs of the communities.
That's right.
I guess they began in monasteries and convents, and then evolved to where we are today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I look at, I know the Daughters of Charity recently have moved out of the diocese. They were the first religious community to come to this diocese, and they came because of the multiple explosions at DuPont and children being left orphaned. And so the pastor there wrote a letter to their superior requesting sisters to start an orphanage. That's also how the Sisters of St. Francis started the orphanage for African American children at St. Joseph's Church on French Street. So there was a need, and we responded to it.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned when you gave the statistics that we have some religious information,
Yes.
which is a really good sign. Talk about that a little bit, if you would, please.
I'd be happy to. We have the Poor Clare sisters have 2 postulants right now, and the Oblate sisters down at Mount Aviat, they have 1 novice who is studying in France right now. She is completing her novitiate, and we have the Norbertines in Middletown have 1 novice right now.
Wow.
So
That's encouraging. Yeah,
yes, it
For
is.
sure. As you look at all the religious in the Diocese of Wilmington, and you look back over the last 11 years, what impresses you the most about those men and women religious in our diocese?
Their dedication. Their dedication to serve the church, to witness to the needs of the church, to be a compassionate presence, to pray for the needs of the church. I feel like we're graced with very faithful people who feel called to the mission.
You mentioned the Poor Clares. They have two information.
Yes.
They are a contemplative community, right?
That is correct.
Talk a little bit about that. What does that mean to be contemplative?
The contemplative communities are called to pray for the needs of the church. They do not go out and have external ministries. Now, so they live a life of prayer. And people might say, well, how do they support themselves? Well, presently, our Poor Clare sisters make cookies. So if anybody needs any cookies, please call the Poor Clare sisters. And they are from their Mexican recipes.
Oh, yeah, because most of them are Mexican.
That's correct.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes.
So if you like Mexican pastries and cookies, give them a call, and you have everything set for Christmas, right?
That's right. And if you need them to pray for you and your intentions, please call them. Yeah, they are so gracious and welcoming when you go over to Mass and prayers, and they'll be celebrating the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe coming up. So,
yeah, that's really, really cool. My guest today on Catholic Forum, in case you're just tuning in, is Sister Ann David Strominger, and she is the delegate for religious for our diocese and my favorite Franciscan. I just have to put it out there.
You're so kind.
I guess I should say one of my favorites because
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt anybody's
Okay.
feelings, but it's really the favorite. So, what are some of the challenges that our religious face?
Some of the challenges right now. I would say one of the big challenges is aging population. Every community has larger groups of sisters over 85. And how do we care for them? I mean, even to the point of how do you remodel the bathrooms in your convents and provide railings on your beds so to protect the sisters and give them what they need. I would say that is a big challenge right now, is caring for the elderly.
Yeah, and they face the same challenges that any 85-year-old would face, except they don't have their families in most cases to provide for them. It's up to their religious order.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the National Retirement Office for Religious will provide when people seek their help. So
Yeah, so that brings me to our next point, that every year in our diocese there's a collection for the Retirement Fund for Religious. This year it's December 13 and 14 in all of the churches in Delaware and Maryland's Eastern Shore. And tell us a little bit about that collection, if you would, please.
it's a very crucial collection where we're almost 40 years old in this collection. And the money, while it is a national collection, I like to tell the people of Wilmington where the money goes locally.
Sure.
The Oblate sisters, the Oblate priests, especially in Childs, the Little Sisters of the Poor, and the Little Sisters of Jesus and Mary have benefited by these donations to help them out. And so it's been a big gift to them.
Yeah. So when you give on December the 13th and 14th, know that a good portion of that money stays right here in
Exactly.
our diocese. Yeah, for sure. That's really terrific.
Can I also share another thing?
Please go right ahead.
When you were asking about challenges, in the 11 years that I'm here, I often look at long-range planning. I come in it from a healthcare perspective. So what's going to happen down the line? And not that I'm planning on going anywhere, but I always look at what is next for the diocese. And so we are the religious women of the diocese are presently involved in a Hilton Cara grant. And we are in phase 2 of it. The grant is funded by them. So the sisters have been asked what are their wishes. Number one, any kind of wish. But we're also going to be getting the demographics of age, religious order. Not that we don't have that, but they have sent out a quantitative analysis to the religious orders as part 1. And part 2, and it has gone not only to the religious women, it has gone to the major superiors as well. And part 2 right now is talking with the groups on Zoom, since we're so diverse. But my hope is they will send us a written report when this is over, probably by, my estimate is June. We are participating in this grant along with the Archdiocese of New York, Newark, and Brooklyn. And they're doing, so they will do this report for us. And then what my hope is not only the diocese will get this information, but Hilton Cara is a very generous institution. And perhaps what will evolve are what are also some of the other needs of the diocese or the individual communities that the Hilton Karen Foundation can fund.
That's great. Maybe you can come back in June and share,
I'd
what
be
the
happy to.
foundings are. Yeah, for sure. So that's very, very encouraging, because the religious community has been in flux for many, many years. We talked about overall how the religious community adapts to the needs of the diocese or their neighborhood or
Yes.
whatever, but also it's changing because of age and a lack in new vocations. Do you see the vocation story that changing? Do you see where religious communities are attracting new members? I mean, you mentioned a couple of new people in formation in our diocese, but
I will say to you that I think some of the more traditional communities and communities that serve perhaps in one ministry, so perhaps that could be education, it could be social services, tend to have people come. There are new communities that are emerging, and so you have people, they have younger people. I would also like to say that there was a study that recently has been done on generations. And what they have found is that after the millennials, new forms of religious life have evolved. So after, I'll say around 1970, the Order of Consecrated Virgins have grown, hermits, secular institutes, so that when we start looking at what is consecrated life in the United States, not that the others weren't here, but people are dedicating themselves to God, but in a way that they might not have to live in religious community. So it is happening, but as I'm saying, life evolves, and so do the ways that people dedicate themselves.
now you are Sister of St. Francis of Philadelphia.
Yes.
Why did you choose that community when you decided to become a sister?
Well, I thought they were a joyful presence. I also had the sisters in elementary school. I had them in high school. And then I worked in, at St. Joseph's Hospital in Baltimore as a nurse's aide, and I wanted to be a nurse. And our sisters served in hospitals. So really, that's what attracted me to the Sisters of St. Francis.
And you've been very, very happy there.
Yes, I have. And I think they've been happy with me.
I'm sure they have. So how can the average Catholic support the religious in our community? Obviously, we can be generous when the weekend of December 13 and 14 comes up, but are there other ways?
I'll make it very simple. If you see a religious, you can thank them. If you remember somebody that taught you in school or took care of you in the hospital, maybe you could write the order a letter and say thank you, I remember when, and tell the story, because those kind of things go in our archives.
Yeah, that's nice. And pray, right?
Absolutely, pray for us.
And if you have a young person in your family, a little boy or a little girl, and talk to them about maybe a vocation, at least make that an option for them as they think about what they want to be when they grow up.
Yes, and the way you do that is by modeling for them, how do you help the poor? Well, at Thanksgiving, we're giving to those who are hungry. So you help them pick out a canned good in the grocery aisle. And then in church, they're able to put that in the basket. And you tell them a story about who they're going to help. There's the simple things.
Yeah, absolutely. You could have been in education.
Yeah.
So, what would you give to, or what advice would you give to someone who's considering a vocation to the religious life?
I would say to them, if you are considering a vocation to religious life, can you contact either a priest, brother, or sister? You can call the Office of Religious. I have inquiries and people ask questions. You may know somebody specifically and you can talk to them about it. I will tell you, many young people find religious orders today on the internet. That's where it is. And so if you make a call, does that mean that you're committed? We say ask your questions. There are discernment programs on Zoom where people get together and they'll have a weekend of inquiry, so you can be together with other people across the United States asking questions. So there's many ways to do it.
Yeah. Pray about it and ask the questions.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
What do you love most about your vocation?
What do I? Oh boy, that's a tough one, right? That you asked me. I think my vocation has given me the freedom to be able to serve the global church and see what the needs are. All right. So it's why I serve the needs of Wilmington. It's a bigger church than that.
Right.
And I think Vatican II opened that door for me. And I think a life of prayer, being able to contemplate, and how is God calling me in my life? How do I pray for the needs of the church and the people I know?
Well, Sister, thanks so much for your vocation. Thanks for your service here in the Diocese of Wilmington. Please, folks, be generous for the National Religious Retirement Office Fund for Religious Collection. That's December 13 and 14 in our diocese. And thanks for spending some time with us today on Catholic Forum, Sister.
Thank you so much for having me.